some time, so
Yeah.
you gonna be up there with me?
Right. It's day 2 for you guys here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only 4 games though, so
Yeah, they have me over here just for the day.
yeah. There was 2 games yesterday on each rink, 4 today on each rink, and then there's only 2 on the other 2 rinks tomorrow and 1 on this one. Well, there's a total of 3 games tomorrow altogether. That's it. 1 on each rink.
Okay. Wow.
So there's only 6 teams in the tournament, and then there's 2 teams that play each other 3 times. They're called future. They're younger
Oh
kids.
yeah.
So and each team plays twice today, and that's it. They played once yesterday and then twice today, and then the championship and third place games are tomorrow.
Oh, that goes by quick.
Yeah. How you been?
Very good, you know. It's been a little bit since we had any type of hockey, you know what I mean? Any type of work like this, so it's good to be over here.
Panthers did pretty good
Oh,
in
they did,
in
yeah.
this NHL. That was awesome.
That was impressive, you know.
I was rooting for them. I don't like Vegas. I didn't want Vegas to win that cup. But they did great. They took out the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference.
There was something.
You've done any work since last year?
Yep. I spent this past season in the Federal Prospects Hockey League. I was with the Mississippi Seawolves up there, so
Oh wow!
yeah, I did season with them, and it was a good experience.
I was told by that the guy that was doing play-by-play with me today was a big guy, real big. I'm like, okay. So I was hoping there'd be enough room up there for the 2 of us, you know?
Yeah. Maybe for the 4th game, because they only had me for 3 of them over here. So.
No, I'm doing well, there's only 3 games here today.
Oh, okay.
The other game's on the middle rink, and I'm doing the play-by-play on that one.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow. It's a weird layout, you know, for the schedule.
it's, and then yesterday, Hockey TV had us on this rink for the 2 games. There was no games on this rink.
Yeah.
The 2 games were in the stadium rink.
Oh, that's something.
And we didn't find out until like 2 minutes before the game was started.
Oh, gosh.
I come over here to do camera, and I'm like, why are these guys still on the ice? They're just practicing. I said the Zamboni should be out there already. And our engineer was like, I don't know. So as I'm walking, a father stops me. He goes, are you looking for the 5:15 game? I said, yeah. He goes, that's on the stadium rink. I said, no, that's supposed to be on the den rink. He goes, no, we were told it's on the stadium rink. So I walked over there, and they're warming up over there already. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's bad.
That was fun. I mean, anything to watch hockey, I'll do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Especially in the summertime. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Especially in Florida.
Oh, 100%.
got that doorway that we sit in with the camera.
So
You know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
he's got the over, like,
Yep. Right
in
behind the
there.
glass.
And it's like, no.
Doesn't make
Why
sense.
would you put the play-by-play person in here when you know they're going to be using the gym?
Right.
It doesn't make, so I switched all that back to the way I set it up all the time. So he was all right with that. And then all of a sudden we had problems when the game was switched to that rink. It was on that rink instead. And it just came naturally to me to call Hockey TV and tell him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Well, he comes into the room and he goes, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "Hockey TV." He goes, "Who the hell's the engineer here?" I'm like, "You start with the wrong person." I said, "Don't." And ever since then, I haven't spoken 2 words to him.
Yep.
So I'm here to do my job. You know what I mean?
100%. Yep.
So, and then when we left, I left everything out. I left it running just like everybody did to me. You know what I mean? That's your problem to take it down.
Right. Yep.
So,
You did what you were supposed to.
yeah, I just, you know, it came naturally. I didn't do it to spite him.
Oh, yeah.
Or it
Right.
was just a natural reaction for me.
Just want to get it right.
And when he did that, you know, and said it in the tone and the way he did, it was like I was ready to die. Oh my God. And even the play-by-play person that was here yesterday, Zach Wilson, or Lucas,
Yes.
he said he was what an ass. And then he comes and apologizes to me. Not to me, to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
They
okay.
didn't even say anything to him. Right. Yeah.
But he's from Trenton, New Jersey. Now, why they brought him down here to engineer this for the amount of games that is beyond me. I mean, but who's to argue with him? You know what I mean?
Right.
I just do like you. I do what I'm told to do. You know. And I'd rather just do camera. I don't have to worry about taking this stuff down and packing it up. I don't have to worry about setting it up, coming in here the day before and testing it all. And then he got into it. He was in a heated argument over the phone with Jeremy or somebody at Hockey TV about why he had to test the stuff.
Oh gosh.
So,
Well, it doesn't take long either, does it?
no, and everything out of his mouth after the beginning when I moved stuff around, everything out of his mouth was just complaining about everybody and everything.
Yep.
It was like, you know, he's complaining about the people at the rink. Now, I've done tournaments here for the last 6-7 years.
Right.
Everybody has been super nice to me, especially here. They bent over backwards for me. And he's just complaining about everybody. Nobody would lift a finger to help him here. And, you know, they told him not to touch nothing and all this other shit. And I'm like, who the hell are you dealing with? Because nobody has told me anything like that. They say you do what you got to do, and you know you need help. Just come and ask, and we'll be there for you. And every time I've needed help, they've done what I've asked them to do. You know.
It's not acceptable.
So, and then the girl comes up to me and she goes, the one girl who works here, she's super nice. I have no clue what her name is, but she's been here for the last 5 years. She turns around and says to me, you know, parents are coming up and complaining that Hockey TV has the wrong game on the wrong rink. They had what was on the stadium rink listed as a mezzanine rink, and the mezzanine rink's being listed as a stadium rink. Did you let them know? So I told him, and he's like, well, what was her name? I don't know.
Why does that matter?
Difference does it
Why
matter?
does that matter? Come on.
I'm like, yeah, all you got to do is tell Hockey TV.
Yeah.
Give them a copy of the schedule that's up on the board. And as far as the schedule, what they gave me from the rink is not what Hockey TV has.
Right.
The games are right, but the rinks are wrong. So I turned around and I'm thinking, I just quit talking to him after that. I'm thinking to myself, why are you now calling Hockey TV and sending them a photocopy of the game, the schedule, so they have it right on their end? And you could have did this the day before yesterday when you set up everything. Because then there would have never been that conflict of switching rinks on us, you know what I mean? just seen the W.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
I just wanted to make sure this was correct too. You know what I mean?
Let's watch. Some of the teams, some of the players are different than what they list. They're going to announce the players at the start of the game. Just double check if they're going or announcing them to make sure they're the right players. So the guy that did play-by-play yesterday, he called the one goaltender Roki. All first period, and it wasn't Roki. It was Stick or something like that.
Yeah,
That was in instead of Roki, but Roki was listed on all the rosters. I just hope we don't get no flying pucks.
yeah, it's I was wondering that when I came up. I'm gonna put this back down there.
Alright. Why don't you just hand it off on the thing there? This way if you need anything out of it, you can still grab it.
Yeah, that's
Or maybe on that one or wherever, I don't know. I like this stand one better than last year's. Last year's it was only like that wide.
Oh no.
That was terrible. They also played the national anthem yesterday too, so. Doesn't stay. This time. And then they don't announce the team name. They only start with the goaltender. So you gotta hope you pick the right team as to what team they're announcing. I think it should be this team first. Maybe they're not announcing.
We are live from Coral Springs, Florida at the Panthers Ice Den for this presentation of the Liberty Bell Games. And in the 10:30 a.m. time slot on this Saturday, we've got Ben Franklin going head-to-head with Walt Whitman. Hello, everyone, and welcome into Hockey TV. Nick Rush giving you the play-by-play as we start up day number 2 of this summertime tournament. Ben Franklin skating from left to right. They are in the dark blues. Walt Whitman the other direction. They are wearing the light blues as we're officially underway. And Ben Franklin recovering from their own blue line. Nice little shoulder coming in there from Ian Tuffin. And Collins gets taken down right in front of the Ben Franklin bench. He makes the quick recovery. And Ben Franklin rides on out toward the blue line from behind the cage. Second try is the charm. Collins provides the turn away and lobs it off to the right side of the cage. It appears Quinn Badeau will be the starting goaltender in net for Ben Franklin to our left. A low one touch forward to Marlowe. Marlowe skates in, right circle, backhand shot on. Save made, rebound kicked away by Brody Farron. A nice save from the get-go from the Walt Whitman starter as we have played 55 seconds of your opening period of play. Keep in mind, of course, 2 periods, 25 minutes each, and an ice cut halfway through regulation. A little meeting of the minds in front of the penalty box boards, and here comes Marcus Gentile towards the far side dasher. He ends up pickpocketed by Anthony Leach. Nice little pick away on top of the right circle. It's Walt Whitman countering towards the far side post, and Quinn Badeau sticks out the left skate. This is Baker collecting from the half boards. Puck pinballs around, and another huge connection from Herman. Well, how about that? We saw a couple guys already take the brunt of it from the get-go. Little point shot coming on the way, but it's Ryan McCarney coming up unsuccessful. Far point. Baker supplies the recovery, and it's a foot race back over to the Ben Franklin zone. At the center line, Uten receiving some pressure from Austin Baker. It's Hanna with a little too much opposition. Gibson Baker able to get the twig in the way, and he discards behind the net. Now over on the right point. Walt Whitman hovering over Quinn Badeau. And they'll try it again on the far side of the blue. Wrist shot, too much traffic out in front. It's Baker with wide open room, steps in near circle, cuts to the middle, wrist shot, and that one gets deflected by a defender in front. I believe that was Christopher Moore taking the sacrifice there. Helmet comes off of a man. That was Kenny Carpenter. And we get a stoppage of play, 22:16 to go. In period number 1, we've got no score between Ben Franklin and Walt Whitman. Faceoff comes to the near red dot in front of the Walt Whitman bench to our right. Walt Whitman looking for their first win of the tournament. They come in 0-0-1 after a 5-4 shootout loss yesterday. Ben Franklin with a 1-0 start. 9-4 they won yesterday. All teams at the Liberty Bell Games kicked things off yesterday, and today is the long haul. Double headers for everybody. And then, of course, tomorrow you've got the championship game, the third place game. So, sure to be a spectacle indeed, but these players just warming up. Waugh on the right point, pulls the trigger, and that takes a ricochet into the mesh netting. Face-off slated to the left of Brody Farron, 5 feet 10 inches tall, a 2007 date of birth. Jacob Hanna able to track it down towards the far hash. Wheeled all the way back to Waugh. Waugh to the right circle. Ethan Kutcher applying the pressure. Quick pass off to Aiden Bishop. Bishop with a whole lot of room ahead. And stashed out across the neutral zone. A little 1-on-2 for Ben Franklin up the gut. Now into the right circle. Waugh bluffing a slap shot, and let's take a look here. Looks like nothing coming out of that. It appears the puck went off of the pipe, but nothing ends up getting called. We have a penalty called. It's hooking against Badeau, and that'll send Walt Whitman to the power play. Your first man advantage of the game for either side. And the power plays in this game lasting 1 minute, 30 seconds each. It's a bit of a complicated broadcast perspective here, but from what I believe, that one might have went bar down in, but it doesn't matter in the long run, of course, with that delayed penalty called against Ben Franklin. And thus it remains a 0-0 game. Evan Marshall backtracking across center. Now Marlowe rubbing shoulders with Tuffin. Tuffin head-to-head with Moore. Moore out in front of the Ben Franklin bench. He takes a hit against a dasher. Now shuffled to the low slot. Ben Franklin desperately trying for a clearance. They've got 50 seconds to go on the Dylan Badeau penalty. Hooking was the call. And it's finally aired out down to Brody Farron. Dominic Collins back to retrieve. Low 360 taken. And Walt Whitman taking their time as they get a line change in effect. Dylan Badeau with a lucky hop his way. Walt Whitman earns it right back with a 2-on-2. Slither to the low slot, nobody home on the centering attempt. Clark with an errant feed, and he's taken some hits from Moore, and we have a stoppage of play. 10 seconds to go on the Walt Whitman power play, their first of the game, and we're scoreless with 20:04 to go in this opening half of play. McCarney with the first touch off of the face-off. We got another foot race. Harrison Uten able to beat out his man. Uten, rink wide to Myers. Ben Franklin killing off the penalty. Dylan Badeau back out onto the rink. Sauced up down into the left circle all the way to the end boards. And William D-Man able to shift it on back. We go out to the middle with Connor Krawchuk. Shot gets jammed towards the kick plate. Now it's D-Man on the near point. Rister doesn't reach the net of Quinn Badeau. Two Badeaus on the rear of Ben Franklin. Of course, Dylan Badeau, a forward number 7. And then you have Quinn Badeau, the goaltender donning number 1, starting out this game. It's Herman putting the brakes on, and he shoots wide left. Now kicked up to the point. Rimmed around for Kenny Carpenter, and Carpenter only able to do so much. The puck hops all the way towards Badeau, who raises up the right hand. Icing called against Walt Whitman. Again, we thank you for tuning in to this presentation of the Liberty Bell Games. Nick Rush giving you the play-by-play from the beautiful Panthers Ice Den. A state-of-the-art facility indeed. Florida Panthers actually used this very sheet of ice for their practices through the course of the NHL season. 3 sheets of ice total here at the Ice Den. Ethan Kutcher takes a blow as he was able to dump it down the far wing. Left circle. Ben Franklin has Jackson leading the charge. Wires it off of the half wall. Walt Whitman reloading. Back out to the center circle. Taylor Quigley assessing his options. He'll put the give and go on to Aiden Bishop. Bishop hacks it to Baker. And Ben Franklin out of the danger zone. It's Jackson, the lone man in, and he fires it high over the crossbar. It's a nice back and forth, up and down play. Only one infraction so far. That was against Dylan Badeau of Ben Franklin, as we have an attempt coming in from the left wing circle, and Quinn Badeau produced the glove save. Marcus Gentile provided the opportunity. 17:46 on the clock in your first period. Zeros on the board between Ben Franklin and Walt Whitman. It's Collins with the wind and fire down into the corner from the far goal line. It's corralled in between the rings. It's Bishop getting jammed. He's able to rise it on out to neutral. That puck flopping back and forth across the Ben Franklin blue line. Dominic Collins with a brief tap at it on the near circle. Tuffin gets it away quick as William Fisher kicked up the heels defensively. The scramble in front of the penalty box wall. Bishop breaking loose onto the near point. Lowers it down to the right circle, and he's engulfed by three different men in that Walt Whitman light blue jersey. The puck is sauced in, no icing called. Walt Whitman with some fresh bodies out there. Ben Franklin electing to do more of the same. Big scramble, and it's shot just high from Gibson Baker. A one-on-one for Ben Franklin, far circle try, and that one off to the left. And we talked about matching names through the course of the game. Of course, the Badeaus over on Ben Franklin. You have two Bakers as well, one for each side. Walt Whitman with Gibson Baker, and then Austin Baker is over on the Ben Franklin side of the score sheet. It's settled on the end boards for Dylan Badeau. Badeau shimmies his way to the low slot. And it's redirected to the point. Walt Whitman can't ship it out. We're back down into the corner and behind the twine. William Demon able to lift it right in front of the broadcast position. Badeau giving him the opposition. Wafted just below the goal line, over near the Walt Whitman bench. It's Fellman showcasing the footwork down into the right circle. That was batted down by a man in front, Gibson Baker, but the puck had a bit too much friction behind it. Now getting down to 15-10 remaining in the first period. Walt Whitman and Ben Franklin still looking for their first goal of the game. Another rolling puck back out to central, and it's McCarney able to backpedal it on the far circle. Plenty of time right now for Taylor Quigley to reassess his options. And he gets to stick in motion against Baker. Baker curling in on the near side of the iron, and that ends up being a 2-on-2. Anthony Leach putting the work in. Now behind the netminder, Quinn Badeau. Left circle. That was centered there. A little too much force behind the pass, however. And Badeau able to block one off of the left leg. Well, we have seen the defensive side of things really amp up here in the second game for each side. Again, 3 games determine the standings of tomorrow. Of course, we mentioned the championship game tomorrow, the third place game and the likes. Marcus Gentile killing off a couple of seconds here, joined by William Demon. It's Quigley turning around on the far hash. Wound up right corner for Harry Rubin. Rubin trying to cut to the front, doubled up between a pair of men. Could be a 2-on-2 if Ben Franklin's quick enough. It's McCarney from behind. Now shrugged away. Quigley having to settle back, wide open man, and another shot roofed high from Ethan Kutcher. A golden opportunity for Walt Whitman. That time Kutcher able to get uncontested, but not a whole lot to show for it. Herman swooping in, has a little bit of a tight angle to work with as he's shoved off by Luke Zucker. High slot. Dylan Bedeau unable to pull the string. Point chance. And Brody Farron able to break down in the split position. Over on the goal line. Biscuit stays in play against the glass. This one high up to Quigley at the center red. Quigley wide side to McCarney. McCarney straight down to Herman. Herman. And another battle. Kutcher the victor. Even up chance for Walt Whitman. And the pass attempt backfires to Waugh. Waugh leading a 3-on-2, and it zipped right into the glove hand of Brody Farron, keeping it zip to zip on the board. Now 12:15 until the halfway mark of regulation. We'll go to the left wing. Tough bump taken by Gibson Baker. But it's Ben Franklin, as resilient as ever, high up on the blue line. Walt Whitman spins it out the center for Harry Rubin. Rubin to the right circle, and Quinn Bedeau produces the save and the stoppage of play. You can hear the coaches from the benches up here in the broadcast position instructing the players. Ben Franklin coached by Kevin Cunningham representing the Norwich Sea Captains. Walt Whitman has Randy Walker behind the bench. Normally with the Lincoln Stars during your hockey season in the fall and winter months. It's Fisher skating his way down. Now did a high slot for Bishop, and he's unable to make it work. It's a little pop. Harry Rubin with reinforcements to his right. Waugh on the counterattack. Tried sticking it just short distance to William Fisher. Harrison Hooton trying to make a run for it. Stick comes loose out of the hands of William Fisher, and he skates back to the Ben Franklin bench. It's now hacked off to Anthony Leach. Leach kicking up the heels, and Brody Farron says no, sir. This is the first game of the day over here on the Florida Panthers training rink. Over on the mezzanine rink, I believe it was, or the stadium rink, actually, I beg your pardon. They had some action going on earlier today. Your first one of day 2 here at the Liberty Bell games. We have a puck caromed over on the Walt Whitman bench. Looks like everyone's okay. Resume with a draw over to the near red dot, and it's sparked down on the right corner. Harrison Hooton speeding it to the blue line. Now it's Moore with a right hand wrister. That leaves a scuff off of the backboard. High up top. A rebound. Anthony Leach. Too many bodies out in front. Cycle continues with Moore. Skittering all around, and Ben Franklin still unable to get those shots on to Brody Farron. Quick change on for Ben Franklin. Marlowe, the fresh man out. Marlowe directly at center ice. Pivots it to Moore. Moore chips it off in front of the dasher. Now rubbing shoulders with Myers. Anthony Leach, the extra man in the fray. Popped up off the right hand of Farron. The puck all alone. A little stalemate at the midpoint. Leach bats it right circle. And Luke Zucker runs it into the circle. On top of the Walt Whitman end. They release to neutral. Kutcher onto the ice, a fresh new man for Walt Whitman. And Ben Franklin forced to go back to square one. It's Taylor Quigley, 2008 date of birth, 5'11". Hawkins ditching it over there on the half boards. Reset for a point. Shot goes over everyone's head. Over to McCarney. McCarney for the rim around. And Taylor Quigley again. Just Walt Whitman, such a hassle on the defensive core as it's knifed down into the right corner. You may see some flashing on the screen. I believe that is the fire alarm going off here. Interesting. Play continuing. If there's any noise made by it, it's not too noticeable, at least from here. And we're just going to keep on going as Brody Farron saves today again for Walt Whitman. You can start to hear it a little bit more now. It makes you wonder what the reaction is on the two other ice sheets here at Panthers Ice Den, but the lights continuing to flash off here. We're having an extended stop as we await a face-off to Brody Farron's right. So getting down towards the latter stages of the first period here between Ben Franklin and Walt Whitman. Down to the last 8 minutes. Still looking for our first goal over here on the Florida Panthers training rink. It's Clark with a little touch up to Herman. Herman trying to swing it on the backboards. And he's able to do exactly that to Marlowe. A little pop-up on the top of the Ben Franklin bunch and ends up going out to play anyway, second time around. Well, Kalen Waldron, the Ben Franklin goaltender, on the bench to start the game. We'll see him in the second period get some reps. Well, he had a bit of a reflex there. Wasn't sure what to do with his hands, if he had to block it if need be. It's just a split-second decision because right off the stick, you don't know what direction that puck's going. You don't know the speed coming off of it, especially if it's point-blank range, much like that was. We have a big battle down there in the corner. A little bit of airtime given for Herman. Jared Herman, according to the roster, goes by Weston. So we'll refer to him as exactly that through the course of this game. Dealt with on the right point. Rister took a funny hop there over Quinn Badeau's shoulder. Another one which evades the net. Tuffin goes off the glove hand. Nothing doing for Walt Whitman so far. The puck is laid down low below the goal line. It's Gibson Baker having that backfire on him. It sputters to the high slot. Baker with the recovery, trying to go one zone to the other, into the left circle. He one-handed it, and the puck squeaked away loose to Austin Baker. So it looked like it was Gibson Baker versus Austin Baker that time around, as Jackson onside over on the far post, and his wrist shot got lifted on by Luke Zucker. On the far end wall, Harrison Newton gives chase. Slowing it down to the left of his goaltender, Farron. Now pokes it rink wide. Gibson Baker tried kicking at it, but comes up with air. Krawchuk ran up against the benches. Baker down low, and he raises it high into the mesh. Well, it was Gibson Baker once again. He has been persistent as ever on this shift. And again, Walt Whitman able to get a man all alone in front of Badeau. But Badeau having a couple of good hops come his way, as well as a few decent saves to accompany them. Puck is rifled back to Brody Farron, and will continue play. The fire alarm's still going off here at the Panthers ice end, much like it has been for the past couple of minutes. But again, looks like it's not going to affect the course of this game. It's Ben Franklin on another counterattack. Work down into the trapezoid area. Now down to your final 5 minutes of the first period. We played 20 so far in this opening period, and with it being 25-minute periods, of course, something a bit different to get used to during these summertime showcases. Those last 5 minutes can tend to feel a bit strange. It's where you can really show your resiliency out there. Going the extra 5 over the course of the 3-day event. Another stick pops up and out of a man's hands. Point shot, save made, rebound, oh so close. And Quinn Badeau gets away with another one. Badeau having to break down in the split position with that man over to his right. Collins, where is it on the right foot? O'Sullivan getting up in his face. Aiden Bishop sharing it off to neutral. Ryan O'Sullivan going stick to stick with a man in the right circle. That's Harry Rubin. Dylan Badeau gets taken down to his knees into the low slot. And a one-time drive unable to be completed by Jacob Handa. O'Sullivan onside. A great opportunity there. Down into the crease. And Brody Farron faces no rebound. Ethan Kutcher with a quick tap over to Rubin. Jammed up to neutral for O'Sullivan. And he's got one man to beat at the moment. Turns it right point, now darting down low. Hawkins comes onto the ice from the Ben Franklin bench. Again, that's Brady Hawkins donning number 2. Everyone congregating behind the cage of Walt Whitman. Knifed on out the center. Quick shot to the left. That from Marcus Gentile. Whistle sounds. It appears Matthias Waugh had the puck trapped up in his equipment. Walt Whitman has an offensive zone face-off to the near side. 2:41 until the ice cut. Both goaltenders so far spectacular in a 0-0 game. This puck with a healthy hop over Brady Hawkins' stick. He's able to locate it off of the goal line. He was searching for Wall. That comes up unsuccessful. D-man shifting it behind O's net. Quinn Badeau paddles up. Over there on the far glass. Right point now. Wrist shot. Everyone seeming to get a piece of that one. Ian Tuffin guiding the troops out the center ice for Ben Franklin. Down to the right circle. A nice double up hit there from Walt Whitman. 1:53 to go until the ice cut. Landon Marlowe in the right place at the right time. Drops back for Hawkins on the trailer. And the shot hits the back glass. Stung out to Waugh at the center line. And he is facing quite the trouble right now, trying to get a number on who that was. It proves to be Harry Rubin. But he was stifled there, to say the absolute least. One-handed in front of the Walt Whitman bench. Now it's Baker over there on the near hash. Wiggled away. Hawkins not able to get there in time. And it's released to Hawkins. Settles it out with Marlowe. Marlowe up the gut with a shot and a pad save from Farron. Now down to your final minute of the first period. Little one-on-one for Gibson Baker. Ben Franklin has their defensive reinforcements arrive on time. Swung to the high slot. It's Krawchuk from the half boards with a shot. Quinn Badeau may have caught a piece of it as we're back up to the midpoint. Big lob on there from Anthony Leach. Beg your pardon, that was actually Cook on the right-handed opportunity, and Quinn Badeau able to gobble it up. It's Myers almost barreling over Leach there, deep in the zone. Hard hit behind the net, and a delayed penalty is called. It will go against Ben Franklin, and as their second infraction of the game. Comes with 14 seconds to go on the clock. Roughing signaled against Christopher Moore. So after an unsuccessful first attempt on the 5-on-4, Walt Whitman giving it another go. It's cleared out with 3 seconds. Clark trying for anything, but the buzzer sounds, and after 25 minutes of action in this one, your score 0-0 between Ben Franklin and Walt Whitman. We'll step aside during this ice cut and come back with your second period and your final 25 minutes live from the Panthers Ice Den in Coral Springs. You're tuned in to the Liberty Bell Games. Welcome back into the Liberty Bell games as we get set for period number 2. 0-0 is your score between Ben Franklin and Walt Whitman. The teams going the same direction. Ben Franklin left to right, Walt Whitman the other way, right to left. Ben Franklin in the dark blue threads, Walt Whitman in the light blue, as we're officially set to go for your final 25 minutes of play. This is the 10:30 a.m. time slot, day 2 of the Liberty Bell games. As a reminder, Ben Franklin with a 1-0-0 record, Walt Whitman 0-0-1 as they search for redemption today. They were able to score 4 goals in their first game, but so far we've had quite the goaltending battle as it's Collins setting up shop for Walt Whitman over there on the near point. Rattled around into the right circle. Gibson Baker assessing his men. Wraps it up, right point, far circle shot. And the save is made by Kalen Waldron, who is slated to play the back half of this game for Ben Franklin. Shot gets jammed onto the half wall. Collins scooping it up. He's in the middle of a 3-man jam, and Ben Franklin shucking it down the ice. There was a carryover penalty going against Ben Franklin's Christopher Moore 10 seconds ago on that. And Walt Whitman making one last run for it 5 seconds ago. Now 3. That'll just about do it. Walt Whitman now 0 for 2 on the power play. Walt Whitman recovering in their own zone. On the right corner is Collins. Now driven up the far wing, out to neutral. 3 men at the blue line for Ben Franklin. Sharoy digging in the skates of Gibson Baker. Baker able to get one off. Passed over to the front of the net and a save made. A backhand shot straight to the breadbasket of Kalen Waldron. Now we mentioned the height of some of these guys, and Waldron, how could you not mention it? A towering 6 feet 5 inches tall. Meanwhile, for Walt Whitman, we see Eli Zucker jump in between the pipes after Brody Farron played the first 25 minutes. Now 2 minutes into your second period, still scoreless. Nice little opportunity for Jacob Handa. Handa runs out of real estate. Ben Franklin crossing their own blue line on the far wing. Pass floats underneath the stick of Evan Marshall. That leads into an icing call against Walt Whitman. Once again, this is the first game of a doubleheader for both of these sides. Ben Franklin playing today at 5 p.m. against Team Independence. Walt Whitman will play at 4 against Team Freedom. Harrison Uten rolls it on out in front of the penalty box boards. And onside is Ethan Kutcher on the far circle. That bangs off of the boards behind the net. Tejas Wall able to go short side to Landon Marlowe. Now a 2-on-2. Over there, a half open net for Eli Zucker, and Ben Franklin's unable to cash in. Well, it's been a game of bounces. That puck has been chipping all around the place, and just about every time it's worked out in the favor of these netminders. So yet another look coming up for Landon Marlowe. Marlowe from the half wall stings it to Moore. Moore shooting from the point. Kick save by Eli Zucker. Rubin on the counter. Slowing at the near side of the blue. Moore was holding him up. And Ben Franklin gets an easy turnaround. It's Moore sticking it up against the opposing point, almost offside, but the biscuit ends up backfiring on him. Anthony Leach, front and center to Moore. Moore with the windup, save made, rebound, and Eli Zucker sticks out the left-hand leather, keeping us at 0-0, 21:08 to go in the game. such a compelling battle that we were treated to in that first period of play. And so far, 4 minutes into the second, it looks like we're about to witness more of the same here. Forked over to the half boards. Over on the right point, it's Zagorodny coming up empty-handed. Walt Whitman, cross central. Mako Cook, right place at the right time. Cross-ice pass lands at the feet of Zucker. Zucker ushering it behind his cage, back out to the front. A backhand shot goes over his head. Walt Whitman seems a bit stunned at the very moment. And Baker gets shut down courtesy of Vitaly Zagorodny. Zagorodny tried wrapping it around there. Pass was centered. That leads to a pickoff. And it's Krashuk off to the races. Puck flies a mile high. Goes down innocently against the end line. Zagorodny able to dish it off. Luke Zucker waiting for his men to set up shop. And it leads into a 3-on-2. Fed right circle. What a save made by Kalen Waldron. Rebound doesn't go. Well, it appeared that Waldron's teammates were just trying to slide him the puck to maybe cover it up. That ended up not happening. And Walt Whitman able to get yet another whack at the puck. From the far wing, slow roller in on Waldron. Marcus Gentile added to the mix, taking matters into his own hands at the blue. Dominic Collins sending it towards the post. Relayed to Zucker, and it soars all the way to Zucker, the Walt Whitman goaltender, for icing against Ben Franklin. So that was Luke Zucker up on the point. From one Zucker to another, of course, Eli the netminder. The matching last names just continue. Myers with a full 360 around the cage, and Waldron traps a shot underneath the left arm. This is one of 3 games being played today over on this sheet of ice at the Panthers ice den. Again, 3 total in this facility. At 12:30, the one after this, we're going to see Team Constitution in action, and they will be going head-to-head. We'll get that in a moment. Of course, going in deep is Walt Whitman. Don't want to miss out on any of that as we still search for your first goal of the game. Baker flicked the puck a bit too far ahead down there into the corner boards, and it's returned out to the center logo. It'll be Independence versus Constitution in the 12:30 time frame. So maybe you're looking for some all-day hockey, a bit of a marathon here at the Liberty Bell Games. Hey, be sure to tune in. Every single game available on Hockey TV. Baker rifles it to the near side. Popped up and out of play. That one landing towards the penalty box area. 17:41 remains in the game. Your score, Ben Franklin 0, Walt Whitman 0. Some nice hustle being put on display there by Reese Jackson. Again, Jackson donning number 15. Originally on the Ben Franklin roster, it was supposed to be Kenny Carpenter, but again, 15 donned by Jackson. Speaking to the man himself, here he comes down the near wall. Christopher beats him to the punch. Right circle wrister. That lands into traffic to Hawkins. Brady Hawkins with a trailer to Herman. And the puck lands over on the left circle. A little miscommunication, and Walt Whitman catches a breather. They'll stick with their current men. It's Moore driving on the backhand to Hawkins. He's able to dodge a hit. Right circle, tight angle blast save made. Rebound, Eli Zucker with a deflection. Midpoint, third try, not the charm. That's over the crossbar, and the net comes off of the moorings. How about it? Well, Leach, I can't help but notice him skating off in exhaustion. What a line that was for Ben Franklin. What a shift for the line, to better put it. But Leach absolutely exhausted as he skated off. Well, that was as good of a chance as any for Ben Franklin to crack the scoreless tie. And Kalen back on full alert. Walt Whitman surging to the right circle, and it's dipped out across neutral. Cook had things work out there. Puck with enough friction to avoid any turn away. To Rubin, trying to dig the puck out of his skates. Now free it up to Zagorodny. Zagorodny attempting to shift past Rubin. Rubin intercepts him with a shot, and that's worn off a Waldron's shoulder. Rubin taking a shoulder from the backboards. Now it's Landon Marlowe hustling his way towards the goal line, one-handing towards the end glass, wrapping it back up midpoint. McCarney, right circle. That's a pad save made by Zucker, and Walt Whitman able to get another sigh of relief. Stashed against the Ben Franklin bench. Both teams pumping out the new lines. It's Taylor Quigley waiting for the new men to step in. Quigley, one side of the point to another. And it's curled back on the right corner. Near end line. Knuckled up and out to neutral. It's a Walt Whitman 2-on-2. Puck hits the ice in front of Waldron. Waldron extending the right leg to Myers. Myers tape to tape with Collins. Now it's Gentile aiming his way down the far circle. A little point blank try, and it's unable to be found onto the body of Kalen Waldron. 14 minutes and a half until this one's all said and done. Keep in mind, there will be a shootout after the game, and that'll go whether or not the game is tied. Even if there is a winner at the end of regulation, there will be a shootout anyway just to get those repetitions in. It is a showcase, so hey, skills competition does make sense. Belted into the right circle. Low cross feed attempt. It was intercepted. Great placement from Anthony Leach. Leach from the far circle to the front. A little too much speed there. Collins rescuing it out across center ice into the right circle. Cracked that by William Fisher. Fisher at the center logo to Baker. Baker with a shot. Oh my, Eli Zucker blocked it right off of the helmet, and you could hear the ding of the helmet all the way up here in the broadcast booth. So that is an icing called against Walt Whitman. That was interesting. Eli Zucker took the puck right off the helmet, almost as if it was a sewer ball, like a soccer ball where you can just bounce it right off of the head. Kutcher kicked away to D-Man, and it's offside against Walt Whitman. So starting to see a couple of more stoppages here in what's otherwise been a free-flowing style of action. D-Man swerving it across to center red. Kicked out for Herman. D-Man tried knocking it down out of midair. Was unable to pull it off. Walt Whitman, nonetheless, back in the O-zone. Puck sputters away from a man. Back to Bishop. Bishop with 2 men to beat. He's joined by Herman to the right. Herman just below the goal line, over to the high slot. Turned away to Hawkins, and he missed the cage. It was Brady Hawkins all alone. Play to the left point for Leach. Leach, a mile off target. Over to the half wing for Hash. Over to the backside of Aiden Bishop. And the play is blown dead as we have a hooking infraction called. And this goes against Gibson Baker of Walt Whitman, and that sends Ben Franklin to their first man advantage of the game, their 3rd penalty of the game total. So we get to see Ben Franklin head to the 5-on-4 for 90 seconds. Again, Gibson Baker guilty of hooking. Now down to your last 12 minutes of the game. 0-0 score, your first game over here on the Panthers training rink at the Panthers Ice Den. Oh, all alone, it's a breakaway. Costly turnover, what a save by Waldron. Oh my goodness, it was a breakaway, clear as day there for Harry Rubin, and shorthanded nonetheless, but Waldron stands on his head. Well, you remember they have the goalie changes, much like every game here at the Liberty Bell Games midway through. Well, guess what? The 2 men carrying the torch right now in the second half of play. This time Eli Zucker with a midsection stop. .39 ticks remain in the sin bin for Gibson Baker of Team Walt Whitman. Laid gently over the wall at the right point. Waugh guiding his way down the wall. And it's careened on over to, as we look to see who that is, Charoy. Charoy with a give and go to Reese Jackson. Jackson to the low slot. Now 10 seconds to go on Ben Franklin's power play, their first one of the game. Wound up in front of the scorers table. We're back to 5-on-5. Gibson Baker right back into the game. He bounced it off of his shin pad over to the stick, and Kalen Waldron able to take it off of the skate blade into the far corner. Right wing half boards. Gibson Baker unable to play it successfully. Over to the high slot. It's Collins beat to the punch by O'Sullivan. Zucker backpedaling into the Walt Whitman end. They'll bring on Gentile and Fellman. Hawkins returning on for Ben Franklin. 10 minutes to go in the game. And neither team's goaltending core has budged so far. Charoy able to finesse his way out to center ice. That's as far as he's able to get. Handa directs one on to Waldron. Save made, and the cycle continues to the right point. Another one chipped just off the mark. William Fisher A point shot. Again, so much blockage, so much support for Kalen Waldron. And Ben Franklin called with icing. This game has been nothing short of a thriller, and if it's an indication of the two other games we're going to see over on this sheet today for day 2 of the Liberty Bell games, well, guess what? We've got so much good hockey to see. And that goes for just about every team here at the Liberty Bell games. It's very selective. It's invite only. And there are only 6 teams, so it's not like those typical showcases where you just have a whole slew of teams. It's games sun up to sundown. The games on the schedule for all 3 days are pretty laid out through the course of the morning and afternoon. Waldron forcing another face-off to his left. It's stormed up to Hawkins. Hawkins curls past Gentile. Gentile wins it right back to Myers. Myers wide open, a 2-on-1, and that puck rolled away right off of the tape. Finds a gap all the way in front of the Walt Whitman bench. 8:40 on the second period clock. And a pair of zeros to accompany the time. D-Man with some open ice with a shot. Oh my, and he is plummeted into the half wall. We have seen a couple of booming hits from both sides and even a couple in the opening minutes of the game. You know, you may think, hey, it's an off-season showcase. Well, guess what? These players have some very important eyes on them, and they are playing for their futures in hockey. As we have another violation called. Leach going into the box for Ben Franklin. And now it looks like a man is getting summoned off of the Walt Whitman bench to jump into the box. That is Myers. So now Zach Myers pleading his case with one of the officials. Just a 2-man crew for each of these games at the Liberty Bell. So there will be no power play from the looks of it. 1 man to each side of the bin. Well, Ben Franklin coach Kevin Cunningham put up his hand. Looks like maybe he wanted an explanation. But all he gets is the word that it'll be 5-on-5 continued. So not a whole lot coming out of that besides those 2 men jumping into the box. Fired at the right point. Ethan Kutcher dropping the anchor. Brian McCarney towards the corner wall. Cook high up, and he gets bodied by Herman. Cook with a quick recovery back up to his skates. Team's just giving it back and forth to another right now. Herman with a near breakaway, and yet another penalty called. The verdict is a high stick. Herman in a bit of discomfort after taking the brunt of it. Micah Clark, the guilty party, sending Ben Franklin to another man advantage. Had 2 power plays so far in the second period, both of them going the way of Ben Franklin. And what a time to get it with 7:35 to go in the game and a scoreless draw. McCarney will muscle it around the end boards, and that ends up all the way back to Waldron on the other end of the rink. How about that? Zagarani dragging it rink wide. McCarney on the receiving end. Kutcher with a wraparound try. Not able to spin to the front. We saw Ethan Kutcher losing an edge on his skate. Official saying he went down on his own 45 seconds ago on the penalty to Micah Clark. Ben Franklin on the 5-on-4. Ethan Kutcher gliding his way towards the trapezoid, and Ben Franklin back from square one. It's Zagorodny, the man up top, flying to the left circle. Kick save made by Eli Zucker. And the puck is released down to Waldron with 15 seconds to go on the power play. Ben Franklin may be able to get one last rush out of this. Baker having to make a quick reversal as we return to full strength. Skied out to Baker at center. Odd man rush for Walt Whitman, left circle, and down goes Baker. Another man follows up as well, and play keeps on rolling. You saw that 2-on-1 and had trouble running all over it there for Waldron and company. And it didn't take long for it to fall apart. Baker can't dump it out. Flagged in deep to the high slot. It was left unattended for a moment, but Ethan Kutcher comes running away. He goes zone to zone down in the right circle for a corner, and Ben Franklin has bodies all over that puck. It's Fisher maneuvering in front of the scorer's table. Now nudging it over to Christopher Moore, who couldn't get a good read behind the play. 5 minutes ago in this game, no pucks in the back of the net so far. Banked over to Tuffin, midway down the ice. Whitman in the midst of a line change. Now it's Moore caught up in the equipment of the opposition. That's Gibson Baker. Now Baker nudging shoulders with O'Sullivan on his way back. What an interesting game it's been. It's been chippy, chippy, chippy. Hawkins in the nick of time at the far point. And Hawkins going down the wing behind the cage. Harrison Hooton stopping for a moment. And elects to lob it up to the right for Moore. High slot shot. That's just over to the far peg. Moore almost lost it for an offside call. Save made. Zucker just barely had enough extension on the right leg. Hawkins dicing through traffic. And no shot comes. Walt Whitman threading one out across center ice. Oh, a centering pass there goes awry. We'll have a second try towards the crease. And Harry Rubin with a frustrating sequence of events. Bishop gets cut off. Jackson following from behind. Jackson and Rubin. And another tie-up. We'll go to the right of Clark. 2:50 to play in regulation. And Rubin with a one-on-one. Could be an odd man rush if they hurry. Wide side pass got fanned on as it was Jacob Handa worked down to a knee in the process. McCarney underneath the goal line. Fanned out the center ice. 2-on-1 for Ben Franklin. Left circle to the front. What a save. Eli Zucker just outstanding as the net came off of the moorings. And it's taken him a minute to get back up. Here's he is all right. A teammate just lost an edge and went right back into the cage. Face-off coming blocker side for Zucker. At this point, very little margin for error. Herman loses an edge. And we go back to the end boards. Now a point-blank scramble. Jackson couldn't light the lamp. And Walt Whitman attempting to enter the own zone, but they're caught offside. 1:56 left. And again, as a reminder, if we finish this game in a tie, the result will be decided in a shootout. Now, there are shootouts at the end of every game here at the Liberty Bell, but if one team wins it in regulation, then the shootouts really don't reflect anything in the standings. But it's a matter of, again, the extra reps in for the players and seeing how they do in that environment. But if the game's tied after 2 periods, and yes, the 3-round shootout will give us a winner. Little knuckler coming on for Kalen Waldron, and he buries it against the chest protector. Johnson, Tuffin, and Gentile coming on out from the Walt Whitman bench. You know, Walt Whitman, they're just going to try and keep forcing Waldron to make those saves, keep freezing the puck, and just keep those offensive zone face-offs rolling. Point shot, and that lands innocently on the near corner. Scooped out the center. 1 minute to go in this game. Icing on Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman with no problem flying out to their end, and again we get the whistle. So how about that? We've got 47 ticks left until the buzzer. One thing you have to like about the Liberty Bell games, a lot of time given between matchups. The next time slot, 12:30 here on the Panthers training rink at Panthers Ice Den. Puck squeaks through all the way down to Leach in the Ben Franklin zone. Right corner. Goes at the tight angle, and it's a breakaway for Ben Franklin. Low slot, and that's high from Zagorodny. Oh, he had the game on his stick right there, but muscled it just a little too much. Ben Franklin trying for one last rush, but that puck ricochets high off of the ceiling. First time we've seen that here this morning. 3 seconds ago. Crucial face-off for Walt Whitman. They're going up against Waldron here. Nothing doing out of this face-off, and that is the end of the game. 0-0 your score. Well, not the end of the game, but regulation. Now we go into the shootout to determine that winner. 5-on-5 overtime is actually the official word. I beg your pardon. 5 minutes. Okay. Let's take a look here. 5-on-5. And then the shootout to follow. So there you go. Again, we talked about the shootout after the fact. So here we go. 5-on-5 again. Good thing we got that strand out. Big credit to our cameraman Ken for saving me on that one. Of course, he's been here since the start of the showcase yesterday. I'm just coming in. I'm fresh. I'm brand new. And hey, I'll tell you what, these showcases, a lot of times they vary year by year. They have their quirks, of course. You talk about the minute-and-a-half penalties, the power plays, to be exact. The little things like that. 25-minute periods, of course, but you know, that's pretty commonplace, especially when you get into these showcases. So again, we've got overtime, 5 minutes. Waiting to see the 5 from each side making their way off of the bench. Let's do it. So how about that? Multiple overtimes in the few games we've had here at the Liberty Bell. Midpoint shot that gets batted down by Waldron. So those second half goaltenders getting in the reps, the additional ones. Again, next goal wins it at this point. It's overtime hockey here to begin day 2 of the Liberty Bell. So, you played 50 minutes. Will this be enough? Swept to the low slot. And Herman gets denied. Back the other way, right circle. What a poke check there. Brilliant from Gibson Baker. Oh my. Now 1 minute into OT. Puck lands to the left of Waldron. Now a mad scramble towards the crease. Sharoy takes it out of harm's way to center. Bouncing off of the back wall. Centering pass. Landon Marlowe confiscates that. 2-on-3. Ben Franklin looking for a chance to win it. A little wraparound shot there. Marlowe trying to go from the backside. Kutcher on the counter attack. Goes rink wide. Nobody home. McCarney searching for another rush. Ben Franklin gets McCarney on the half boards. Up to Quigley at the point with a shot. And able to squeeze the 5-hole shut in time was Eli Zucker. He collided with a teammate there in the form of Harrison Newton. 2:50 left in OT. Drifted to Jackson. Jackson with a little tapper at the center ice logo. Quigley keeps it in play up on the glass. High slot shot. And Kalen Waldron says, not on my watch. He keeps the game going with a glove save. Just over an hour and a half into this one. Very speedy games here at the Liberty Bell. Teams constantly coming in and out. But of course, a total of 3 games, plenty of opportunities to be showcased. Especially on a day like today where teams are playing their double headers. Ben Franklin at 5 o'clock, Walt Whitman at 4. as we have another close range attack. Eli Zucker weathering the storm. Face off on the way to the nearer boards. It quickly skitters to that spot in between the circles where guys have camped out ever so often. Icing takes a face-off back again against Zucker. We saw Walt Whitman dominating the attacking zone in the dying moments of regulation. Now here in overtime, Ben Franklin trying to flip the switch. Moore airing his wrist shot out of play. Zagarani gets bumped off. And the puck is cut across center ice. Moore unable to fly there in time. Yet another icing with a $1:43 to play in overtime. Ben Franklin and Walt Whitman, a 0-0 game. And Walt Whitman was tied in regulation yesterday too, ultimately falling short as they have an 0-0-1 record. Ended up being a 5-4 final score in the game. Darted to the high slot, say made, a rebound, keeps out of Waldron's crease. What a clinic it's been. Three skaters across center for Ben Franklin, leading the charge with a shot up high. But for Ben Franklin again, the goaltenders Quinn Badeau and Kalen Waldron. Walt Whitman has Brody Farron and Eli Zucker. All four men should be applauded for their efforts in this one. It's Bishop. Game on his stick right now, and he ended up banking it off of his defender, Dominic Collins. But a 1-on-2. Tilted to O'Sullivan. Odd man rush for Ben Franklin again. O'Sullivan, rink wide, right circle shot, and a save. Eli Zucker does it again. Guys getting robbed left and right. Herman's stick flies onto the bench. 7 seconds to go. Walt Whitman pinned up deep. 3, 2, 1. And even after 5 minutes of overtime, no goals have been scored here. Man. It makes you afraid to see what's in store for us in the shootout. So Walt Whitman shooting first. Waldron back in net to our left for Ben Franklin. And of course, Zucker doing the same to our right in that Walt Whitman jersey. First shooter is going to be Zach Myers. Myers gets the whistle. The shootout is underway. Myers gently down into the right circle. Backhand, forehand save. Kalen Waldron back down into the splits. What a nice setup it was from Myers nonetheless. And Ben Franklin will try and round out the first round with the lead. Hawkins doing the honors. Brady Hawkins near post, drags across, and no sir, Eli Zucker with a reply of his own. Harry Rubin. And round two for Walt Whitman. Rubin skating up the gut into the low slot. He shoots and kicked away by Waldron. 2 men out on the ice right now for Ben Franklin. Who's it going to be? Weston Herman. Herman racing his way right side of the blue, near circle. Herman up front, tried to go 5-hole, and Zucker able to shut the gap. We'll enter round 3, still with no goals to speak of. You've got Ian Tuffin with an opportunity down on the near hash. He shoots right to the pad of Waldron. Rinse, wash, repeat. A frustrating one indeed for the offensive core. Let's see if Landon Marlowe can finish it off. Marlowe showcasing the stick work. Weaving all around in between the rings, and it looks like the paddle got in there from Zucker. So we've got extra hockey even in the shootout. Jacob Handa stepping up for Walt Whitman. It's Handa with nice movement down low in the left circle, and he couldn't finish off the play. Some oohs and ahs coming from the Walt Whitman bench. They were convinced that Handa had the game wrapped up right there, but the puck just slid right off of the twig. Anthony Leach shooting for Ben Franklin. Cuts to the right with a shot. Save made. That one with some smoke behind it. Eli Zucker pinning it underneath the left arm. We just keep going. Ethan Kutcher off of the bench for Walt Whitman. Kutcher, a little sharp angle down on the right post. And that one way off. May have hit Waldron and deflected off of the backboards. Vitaly Zagorodny over on the right wing. Near circle shot, he scores! And that's your rookie game. Vitaly Zagorodny wins it for Team Ben Franklin, and they continue their hot weekend. They are 2-0, 1-0 your final score. Walt Whitman bouncing down to 0-2. 50 minutes in regulation, 5 minutes of OT, not enough. 3 rounds of shootout hockey, still not enough to decide our winner, but Zagorodny gets it in the extra rounds to conclude your first game of the day here at Panthers Ice Den on the Panthers training rink. Up next, we've got the 12:30 time slot. And again, in that matchup, it'll be Team Constitution returning to the ice. They are 0-1-0. They'll play against a 1-0 Team Independence. But until then, this has been Nick Rush giving you the play-by-play. Thank you for joining us this morning and so long from Coral Springs, Florida. This has been a presentation of the Liberty Bell Games. And one more time, your final score, Ben Franklin winning 1-0 in the shootout against Walt Whitman. So long, everybody.